This is the Nutty Knife Guy. I know I keep telling you that I'm going to go out with my Barnstar slash Tractor Supply camp slash survival knife and put it through its paces. And I will, but I'm not going to try to tell you exactly when now. The weather just doesn't cooperate. The weather itself is decent right now, but we've had almost 2 weeks of constant rain or snow and melting snow, and the yard, including the part where the war post is in, is a complete muddy mess. So, I'm going to be inside today telling you about 3 new sharp and pointy toys that I just got. 2 of them were an afterthought, and I'm going to show you those first, of something that I think is really cool that I got. But anyway, that's the thing. A commenter on my channel said that he can't wait for me to get better equipment, and it's coming. Probably in May. I'm going to get a camera with a little pre-attached boom mic, and hopefully the sound and the recording will be much better. Sadly, that's going to cut into my knife budget, but what can you do? Okay, so here we go. 3 just quick first thoughts on some new stuff that new knives that I just got. The first is the Smith & Wesson Special Tactical model CKTAC. This was like a $10. Like I said, it was an afterthought on another order when I was ordering something cool. And there's a lot of stuff I like about it, and a lot of stuff I don't. Now, I did experiment with this for about 3 or 4 days, carrying an EDC, and rejected it and went back to my Ontario Utilitac. So we're going to get the negatives out of the way. The first negative is also a positive, is the grip. This is kind of a rubberized grip, you can see. It's got a really nice feel. It fills the hand up, it fills my hand almost perfectly. It's got the little bird beak, locks it in your hand. This just feels fantastic. But it would shred your pants. It's grippy and it's rough, and you carry this around for a little bit. Whatever pair of pants you have one of those nice little knife notches in the lip of your pocket. I can't afford to do that to my pants, so that was a rejection point. But the biggest headache about this is the clip. As a $10 knife, and I knew what I was buying, right? But I implore all makers of folding knives, whether you're Tac Force, whether you're Frost Cutlery, whether you're Benchmade, never make a folding knife that at the very least doesn't have a clip that's reversible for righties and lefties. Preferably never make a knife that's not right and left reversible and tip up, tip down reversible. I like carrying my knives tip up. Can't do that with this, which is another reason it's not my EDC. It's going to go into my little case with all my other folding knives in my collection. And it's a shame because it feels fantastic. It's got good solid lockup. Right? That time it actually failed. See, you learn something when you watch my videos. But that's probably because I didn't flip it open. I did find out early on that you really have to zing this thing open to get it to lock up properly. There, it was all right. It came shaving sharp. A lot of people malign Smith & Wesson knives or any knives made by gun makers. They can be hit and miss, but I have a few. I've got the one I reviewed, Smith & Wesson Tonto, that is my everyday carry personal protection knife. This is one of those knives you put in your glove box. I think this blade is small enough to be legal in most states. It's inexpensive, throw it in your tackle box. Just a general, everyday, nice to have when you need it knife. So there it is. That is the Smith and Wesson. What do they call it? Special Tactical Model CKTAC. Next one is another offering from Smith and Wesson. This one was about $15. And this one is a boot slash neck knife. I gotta take my glasses off because I'm an old man, I can't see. This is the model S&W HRT 3BF. Just, I guess they just can say you can call it the SRT there. Now, knife itself is good for what it is. This is a last ditch. Everything else is gone, and there's one zombie left knife. But if you're fighting zombies or ninja lizardman zombies or zombie lizardman ninjas, and this is all you got, you could do worse. It looks like a double-edged blade, but it is not. It is a single-edged blade, which is kind of annoying because you have to be careful if you're going to be using this. If you're getting it out in a hurry, there is no way to tell where the edge is, which way the edge is facing without looking. So for any kind of a personal protection knife, that's not good. But $15. Knife itself, I have no problems with at all, except for that edge geometry. Why don't they just make it double-edged? I know some states don't like them, but at least have a version that you can buy with double edge. Maybe they do. I didn't see one. But it fills the hand pretty well for a small knife. It's got texturing in the thumb groove and the thumb notch here, and texturing so you can use it credit card style. That's a plus. But for defensive purposes, this business of not being able to know where the blade is without looking, that's a big drawback. The sheath is sort of kind of disappointing. It came with a bead chain, and I tried this for a couple of days and carrying around a neck knife. I was looking for a neck knife so I could have a fixed blade on me around the house when I'm not wearing my belt, like I'm in sweats and something, because summer's coming. It ain't gonna be this. Because the clip is not removable, it is very thick when you're wearing it as a neck knife and prints like crazy. And so, and the clip, and so that it's not working for me. The clip really doesn't work. I don't wear boots, so I tried it in a pair of high top tennies, and every time I went to draw it, the sheath and all came out. It's the same thing when I clipped it to my belt. If you're going to be carrying this, you have to grab the sheath and pull to get it out, and that's not good either. Now, having said, the retention on the sheath is good. It feels good. The handle is it doesn't fill up my coin, but as I said, if there's one lizardman zombie ninja left, and you're out of ammo, and your other knives have been broken or lost, and this is all you have, you could probably kill that last lizardman zombie ninja. So there's that. But for $15, I mean, this could be useful. If you don't mind having to grab it, you can clip it onto your belt as a small knife or something like that. This would be a good knife for your go bag, for your go bag or your bug out bag. But for me, it's probably going to go on my collection table, and I'll get it out and play with it every once in a while. I'm a little disappointed. If the clip worked, or it was removable and you could use it as a neck knife, it would be great. But the sheath really doesn't live up to the knife. That brings us to the last one, and my favorite. This thing. This is the Tomahawk brand Big Bounty Hunter Machete. Okay, Tomahawk. Listen here, I'm going to take you to school. This is not a machete. This is either a short sword or a very long knife, depending on how you want to look at it. To me, it very closely resembles a Filipino talabong short sword. I would be shocked to find out if they didn't use that as a pattern. Just got it yesterday, and like I said, there's just too much mud and rain and just awful weather to go out and play with it with. This is another one on my go outside and test it list. But I can't figure out why they would call this a machete. It's clearly not ground as a machete. It's ground as a knife or a sword. My theory is that they don't want to say sword because it's a weapon, because a sword is a weapon, and that there might be legal questions there. That's the only reason I can figure for calling this thing a machete, not a machete. Just look at it's got a secondary bevel with a slight hollow grind. It's got a false edge. This is not a machete. Long knife, short sword, long knife, one or the other. Yeah, it feels pretty good in the hand. Not bad at all. I like the little bird bill there. It does keep the hand from sliding down. My one complaint is the way the grip scales taper into the bolster. I was going through some drills with it last night, and the hand tends to wind up here because it's kind of slides down that taper. My plan right now is to get some of that tennis racket tape that looks like leather and just wrap a couple of strips around here to keep that from happening. That shouldn't detract from how pretty this thing is, and I think this thing is really pretty. But that's the plan. It came shaving sharp. This was like $22. Stainless steel, and it's mystery steel. They just tell you it's stainless steel. I would venture to guess some kind of 440, probably 440C. Full tang, steel bolsters, steel pins. Now the Amazon entry for this thing, and on Bud K too, they say this is a 12-inch blade. That seemed wrong to me when I was looking at it on the internet, just and the videos that are up on it. So one of the first things I did was get it out and measure it. This is actually more like a 14 and a half inch blade. It is 21 inches overall, but the blade is longer than what's listed in the sales ad. I like the balance of this thing for 22 bucks. But I do have to admit that with mystery steel, and they're calling it a machete, I'm wondering how it's going to hold up if you try to use it like a machete. I will find out when conditions improve outside and do another video just on this. But there is the blade. Now, something about the sheath puzzles me. This is a slightly better than average nylon sheath that you get with budget knives. We've all seen it, right? This one is riveted, and it is sewn in most places pretty well. The strap is double stitched. It's got 2 rows of stitches. I do not know if you can see that. Okay, folks, had a slight interruption there. Old friend called. don't get to talk to him much. Haven't talked to him in a while. So I took the call, and I'll have to splice these together. I was talking about the sheath. The sheath is pretty decent construction and quality-wise. It is a zipper case, like a machete. In my experience, you didn't really need it, but it is a little easier to get it in here with the zipper because of the recurve. It's got a Velcro retention strap. And retention is okay. It will come out, but it doesn't expose the edge. It just does the ricasso. If you're going to carry it, you'd be all right. Now the only thing is this thing. I guess it's supposed to be a shoulder strap. But if you carried it just over your shoulder, like so, at least for me, it would be falling off all the time on either shoulder. It's not long enough to go around the waist, and it's not really long enough to go around like this. You can do it, but then you're going to have your machete in your armpit the entire excursion. The only way I could see to make this work is just around your neck, which would be awkward. This strap, whatever it is useless, in my opinion. Somebody might be able to make it work, but I think they'd have to be a hobbit. But the blade itself, I'm very pleased with. I am a little bit worried about using it like a machete. Machete. It's mystery steel, and it's a longer blade. And the longer the blade, the more torque is on them. Just physics of it, easier to break. So when I get weather conditions, I'm really looking forward to going out there and trying this out. I hope I don't break it. If I do break it, just because I intended it to practice with and to be pretty in my collection, I will probably buy a new one at about $22. Well, I'm hoping it doesn't break. Now, excuse me. So that's pretty much it. This is not at all a bad blade. It's a budget blade. The Tomahawk brand Big Bounty Hunter Machete. Not a machete. Wish they would stop doing that. But, rosewood handles, full tang, steel bolsters, steel pins, nice and solid so far. Really fun to whip around, but don't do that at home. Okay. If I chop my fingers off, no, I'm not going to show you. You really should use training blades. I use training blades most of the time. I only use actual sharp-edged blades to practice with occasionally, and then I usually do it like 1/4 speed that I do my trainers, because I am not an expert and I like my fingers attached to my hands. So use trainers. But that's about it. So I will bid you goodbye after reminding you to draw your blades only in just purpose. Sheathe them only with honor. And remember, without knives, life would be dull and pointless. The Nutty Knife Guy bids you good night.